Today I'm going to walk through a quick demo of how our AD self-service password reset solution, Specops uReset, works. Password resets can be time-consuming for IT teams. We've got lots of things that can drive up this burden. Remote users who can't update their local cache credentials, regular forced password expiry, rolling out reset password initiatives, either because you've got a new password policy or maybe because you're recovering from an attack, or just not enough IT staff to cover the growing number of users. Specops uReset is great for offloading time-consuming password reset calls from your service desk and IT staff without sacrificing security. This is even more true for organizations with remote or hybrid users, as uReset can update the locally cached credentials whether they're on or off VPN as well. With uReset, users can reset their Active Directory password from anywhere and on any device, right from their Windows logon screens or from their mobile when on the go. With our flexible MFA platform, Active Directory password resets are secured no matter where your user is. Let's take a look at the typical password reset process. The user's clicked on the reset password link and is then taken to a web page. This web page requires the user to prove their identity by collecting stars. Some ID services are more secure than others, so some are graded with 3 stars, some are graded with 2, and some are graded with just 1. The user can use any combination of these to prove their identity to the solution. In this example, I'm going to use the Okta Identity Service. We're going to send a push notification to my phone, which I'm going to accept. And now I've been verified on my computer. So that's given me my first 2 stars. Next, I need to still earn another star to prove that I am who I say I am. So now I'm going to go with one of the 1-star identity services, in this case mobile code. Notice that my number's been obscured for privacy purposes, and when I receive that code, I'll type it into the box below. And we just click the confirm button, and now I'm completely authenticated and I can now reset my password. This page is a dynamic representation of the policy that applies to the user. In this case, we're looking at a Spec Ops password policy, which allows you to use both passwords or passphrases or have a multitude of different rules to allow for better password hygiene within your environment. Right now, I'm going to choose passphrase. So you'll notice as I start to type my new passphrase in, those nasty red dots turn to nice green ticks. Everything's looking good. I can see that my new password is going to also last a lot longer than my shorter passwords. So everybody's happy, everything's good. But when we click OK, we can see that there's a problem, and this passphrase I've just tried to type is actually a breached password. Specops password policy allows you to block over 4 billion breached passwords within your environment. The error is clear to the user. So let's try again. Let's see if we can set a better passphrase this time. So once again, we're typing in our new passphrase. We're repeating it underneath, and we can see once it's typed in correctly, we get our green ticks everywhere, and we're going to click the OK button. This time, we're going to have a bit more success. So our password's been successfully reset in Active Directory, the cache credentials have been successfully updated on our local machine, and this new password can also be synced immediately to your Azure Active Directory as well, or Entra ID, as Microsoft now like to call it. So let's just test our password, make sure we can log in, and sure enough, we can. Now let's look at another common use case. Users often forget their passwords and sometimes lock themselves out. So we're going to type in the wrong password a few times on here, and we can see an extra warning message here reminding users that they can use the reset password link to reset their password. And then finally, we can see that we've locked ourselves out. So we can still use that reset password link that we clicked on earlier to unlock our accounts as well as reset it. So we've clicked on the link, we go to the web page again. Now we have to authenticate just like we did earlier as well. and this time I'm going to choose a YubiKey. So I'm going to verify my identity. I've collected the first 2 stars, and then once again I need to collect my final star to finish my identity. And once again I'm completely authenticated into the system. But this time, rather than it taking me to the password change page, I've chosen to keep my password. My account's been unlocked and I can successfully log in to my Windows box again. So we've looked at 2 use cases now. How do we enroll in all of these ID services? Well, let's take a look. So we've logged on as our user who isn't currently enrolled this time, and notice we're presented with an enrollment screen. We click on the enroll button. We prove our identity with something that we know that we're already enrolled with. In this case I've chosen Duo because I can be automatically enrolled in the Duo ID service. And then I just confirm my password, which hopefully I should know because I've just logged on with it. And we can see down the bottom here that we've already got some completed ID services. So Duo, Mobile Code, Trusted Network Location, Manager ID are all things that we can be automatically enrolled in. So if we're already enrolled with Duo, we already are enrolled with the uReset service. But we can also pre-enroll people with secret questions or Okta and even Microsoft identity services as well. So I've just authenticated with a YubiKey to get my final star, and I'm done. Now let's look at the admin console. Once we're logged into the web console, which is obviously protected by MFA, we can take a look at our policy configuration. So this is where we can choose which identity service we want our users to use, how many stars they need to enroll with versus how many stars they need to authenticate with. And we can see the whole list of ID services in this policy here, and we can simply add or remove the ID services that we wish to by hitting those plus signs or minus signs. Other things that we can do in here are the reporting. So there's a full audit suite. We can pull out usage reports, we can pull out auditing of the system as well, system events, and also check our enrollment. And if we click on the details tab in here, we can see who is and who isn't enrolled with the service currently. So this is really good for when we're trying to increase the usage of the solution. We can export those reports as well if we want to a CSV file, so we can manipulate it in Excel should we have the need to do so. Next, let's have a look at the Identity Services tab. So in here we can configure each of the identity services to however we want to use them. So we can see we've got Semantic VIP, where we've got those little cogs, that's where we can make some changes. So I've clicked on the mobile example here. We can choose where we want to save the mobile number in Active Directory, whether we want to automatically enroll them, what our default country is. So a number of different options for each ID service. Finally, let's take a look at the Secure Service Desk module, which is part of the Spec Ops authentication platform. So this is used by the service desk to identify callers who call the service desk. So what we're going to do is Mr. ZZ user has called in. We're going to use the Duo ID service to verify who they are. Mr. ZZ user gets a push notification sent to his phone, clicks approve, and the service desk agent can see that it is actually that person at the other end of the phone. At this point, the service desk agent can reset the user's password, obviously using the policy that applies to that particular user. We can also send that password to the user or to their manager. We can also check that their enrollment is up to date, so we can see which identity services the user is enrolled with, and enforce or remove enrollment if we need to as well. And then finally, we can check the user's details. So we can see details about the user, when their passwords are going to expire, what policies apply to them, and also some history. So how often they've used the system, when they've contacted the service desk in the past as well. So that concludes my brief demo of the Specops uReset platform and Secure Service Desk today. We'd love to speak with you about how Specops uReset could work for your organization. If you're ready to reduce the burden of password reset calls for your team, get in touch by visiting specopsoft.com.